Welcome YouTube. We're over here in Kmart City, Illinois at Holy Cross Cemetery visiting a murder victim from 1985. In St. John, Indiana, there was a Kmart shooting where some psycho come over there and killed 3 people, and then the cops killed them. So I was able to find all 3 graves actually of the victims. The first guy killed was George Murr, but unfortunately he's buried in Evansville, Indiana. It's about a 4-hour trip from here. So I'll insert a picture of his grave right here. But much respect. And he definitely shouldn't have died. He was shot off his motorcycle cruising down 41 in St. John, Indiana. So that's George Murr. We're over here at Holy Cross Cemetery, Kmart City, visiting the second victim, which is Margaret Novak. She worked at Kmart. Where's it at, Gio? Where's it at?
Over here.
She was the second victim. Over here somewhere. Right here. Margaret Novak. Beloved wife and mom, Margaret M. Novak, December 25th, 1931, and that horrible day, May 28th, 1985. A tender mother and a faithful friend. Horrible. Working at a store, and psycho come in, shot her. I think she might have been running a register or something. So sorry, Margaret. Hope you're resting in peace. Should have never happened. I hope you're in a much better place, and I'm sure you are. God bless. And now we're going to shoot over to the next victim, which was the third victim, and she's in Lowell, Indiana. James Koslow. Let's shoot over there. We'll see you in a minute. So we'll swing over to the second cemetery and then stick with me, and we're going to tell you the whole story of what happened. 1985, May 28th, St. John, Indiana. All right, let's do it. Here we are, Lowell Memorial Cemetery. There's one grave. She was a murder victim back in 1985, May 28th. In Kmart, shopping. Crazed gunmen come in, killed 3 people right there in the area. She was one of them. I guess she's from Lowell here. And she worked at LTV still in Chicago. 1985, working at LTV. She had a good job. It's a damn shame. She had to lose her life because of an idiot. Never understand stuff like that. To kill people you don't know. I mean, it's terrible. But here it is, right over here. Right there. Marlene M. Jankosik. September 16th, 1949. And then that horrible day, May 28th, 1985. I remember that day. I'm from the area, and I was in Crown Point with my brother, working at a concrete place. I remember hearing this on the news, and I was just shocked what happened. It's a shame. She definitely had no reason to die. She was young too. 36, 35, 36. Terrible. My darling wife, my best friend, my love, my life, forever, Gregory. Got Sandy right there. March 10th, 1973. But there's one of the victims. Like I said, it's a shame. No reason that woman had to die. But I hope you're resting in peace. God bless. Helping to keep your memory alive.
Good evening. The tranquility of a tiny Indiana town has been shattered tonight. A crazed gunman wearing army fatigues and armed with a sophisticated rifle opened fire on the town's main street, then moved in with his gun blazing into a Kmart and an auto parts store. He claimed the lives of 3 innocent people before he was gunned down himself. It happened in St. John, a town of 5,000 just south of Hammond.
Hey, welcome. Here we are, St. John, Indiana. Figured I'd do a little story on this right here that you don't hear about. But there was a Kmart shooting right there back in 1985. It was May 28th. I actually remember it. I was in Crown Point working. Cows with concrete. Shout out to cows. Hated that job. Labor. Bitch. Anyways, the shooting, I believe this, trying to find Coachman Inn, I forgot where it was exactly. I think it was down here by Dairy Queen, maybe that was it. I'm not sure. But George Koslow came up here, killed 3 people and shot multiple others. And I'm going to try to find as much information as I can, but I'm pretty sure there was a kid shot right here. I remember in the newspaper, showed some bicycles laying here. This is a different Dairy Queen now. It didn't look like this. But all hell broke loose. Across the street somewhere. Not sure where. See, I'm not sure which one was Coachman because I ain't a drinker. I've been there a couple times on bike runs back in the day. I think this was it. I'm pretty sure it was that one over there.
A former Chicago man shouting, "I'm no cripple," and firing a semi-automatic rifle killed 3 people in and around a shopping center in St. John, Indiana, and wounded as many as 4 before he was shot and killed by police Tuesday evening.
Fired from this semi-automatic rifle, an H&K 93 with 120 rounds of ammunition available. This woman, one of several, shot and wounded on the street before the gunman ran into Kmart. All the while, the trigger pulled, peppering cars, people, and buildings. Anything that got in the way.
The gunman fired at least 115 rounds, according to police, and a witness said the shooting lasted half an hour. Police and others said he had begun acting strangely after he hurt his back a few months ago, lost his job, and became upset with the doctors. Among those killed was a motorcyclist who was driving down U.S. Highway 41 near the shopping center.
The man on the motorcycle was killed, the first victim of this 35-minute barrage of bullets, begun about 5:30 this evening here in front of the Coachman Inn.
Also killed was a woman who worked at Kmart, courtesy counter, and a customer who was gunned down in an aisle of the Kmart, authorities said. The wounded included a tow truck driver who tried to aid the motorcyclist, and a boy suffered a broken arm while trying to help the motorcyclist also. St. John, a town of 4,200, is about 35 miles from downtown Chicago. St. John Police Chief Robert Ponton said the gunman was James Koslow, 32. Koslow lived with his parents in St. John about 3 blocks from the shopping center. He had recently moved from Chicago, where he had worked as a newspaper production worker for the Sun-Times and the Tribune. There are so many witnesses who saw bits and pieces of what happened.
He was just standing on 41, pumping at the guy on the motorcycle. He had his scope on or something, he was just shooting.
Ponton said Koslow was shot to death by Richard Conaway, a St. John police officer.
Here. So I go back, I told the police is behind. So the policeman stopped in the corner of that building over here. He tried to run away over here and shot him right behind that truck.
I looked around the corner and there he was with a gun pointed at me, so I started shooting at him. He turned around, looked like he was going to shoot at me, but then ran the other way, and I just shot at him until he went down.
Moments earlier dodged Koslow's bullets and was tracking Koslow along with 2 officers from the Lake County Sheriff's Police. According to police, Koslow was armed with a semi-automatic rifle with a telescope sight and ammunition clips for reloading. A search of his clothing after he was killed turned up about 100 rounds in unused ammunition clips. Lieutenant Mike Higgins of the Lake County Sheriff's Police said Koslow's gun jammed at one point, but he cleared it and continued shooting. Ponton said the earlier Tuesday, shortly before the shooting spree, Koslow had sprayed-painted these words on his parents' garage. "Malpractice. You are trying to hide what you did. Liberty and justice for all." According to Koslow's parents, their son was delusioned with his doctors and had been in constant pain since an accident on the job at the Sun-Times several months ago.
His parents could tell me that their son was suffering excruciating pain. It was from a back injury that he supposedly got at work, that he hadn't worked in the last 2 months because of this injury, and that his son was getting bills, and she was going to let me know who the bills were from later on today, that he was saying they weren't helping me, and he was burning the bills because he said he had all this pain. Said that the mother said he had gotten an injection of some kind of drug from some doctor somewhere that put him in convulsions. The son called home and said, "They're trying to kill me. I'm dying, and now they're trying to kill me."
Killed in the shooting spree were George Murr, the motorcyclist who lived in St. John, only a few blocks from Koslow; Margaret Novak, 50, of Cedar Lake, Indiana, the Kmart employee assigned to the courtesy counter; and Marilyn Jankowski, 35, of Lowell, Indiana, a shopper in the Kmart store. Police said Murr had left his home only moments before he was killed. The shooting spree apparently began on the east side of US 41 behind Marciano's Pizza, according to John Mantis, the owner. Mantis said he was in the basement of his pizza parlor where he heard 4 shots at about 5:30 p.m. "I checked out back and I saw a guy in the parking lot. He shot twice at me, so I locked the door and called the police." Descriptions of Koslow's clothes differed. Some witnesses said he was wearing military fatigues. Police said he was wearing an old coat and dungarees with huge pockets in which he carried ammunition clips. Julie Hitchcock, 27, who was tending bar in the Coachman Inn on the east side of US Highway 41, said she heard gunshots and patrons at the inn hit the floor. Hitchcock said the gunman shot the motorcyclist on the highway, then sprayed the front of the Coachman Inn with bullets, some of which penetrated the wooden wall, but no one was hit inside. Mantis said, "Then he went across the street to the Kmart and I heard shots all over." Police said witnesses said the gunman fired while running through the Kmart parking lot on the west side of US 41. The gunman continued towards the store and peppered the front doors and front windows with bullets.
A woman, 35 years old, from Lowell, Indiana. More than 100 rounds of ammunition fired. 3 innocent victims, 3 senseless deaths.
St. John police officer Bernard Johnson said that when Koslow entered the Kmart, he shouted at no one in particular, "This is for the people in the hospital. I'm no cripple. You're going to pay." Witnesses told Lieutenant Don Parker of the Cherville Police that the gunman circled the aisles of the store shooting at random while customers fled out the back door or dived into the floor.
I was on the main midway, that's right in the aisle of the store, and then I hear some shots, and I don't know, somebody started screaming, "Get down, get down."
After raking the Kmart, the gunman ran back east through the parking lot to US 41. Moments earlier, Officer Conaway had arrived in response to calls for police, and he saw Koslow running east across US 41. The gunman went behind the stores on the east side of US 41, with 2 officers trying to follow him. Mantis, the pizza parlor owner, said he came back this way again when the police were coming in. He went around the building to the back and shot twice again. I called over to the police. They spotted him, started shooting at him. They shot him in the head and knocked him down.
The last to die was the gunman, now identified as 32-year-old James Koslow, living in this St. John home with his parents since moving from Chicago in January. Koslow was killed by a police bullet to the head. Investigators last night removed bags of evidence from the man's bedroom. This photograph shows what they found: several combat rifles and an array of ammunition.
Here. So I go back, I told the police is behind. So the policemen stopped in the corner of that building over here. They tried to run away over here and shot him right behind that truck.
I looked around the corner and there he was with a gun pointed at me, so I started shooting at him. He turned around, looked like he was going to shoot at me, but then ran the other way, and I just shot at him until he went down.
The wounded were Patrick Lukasik, 25, of Cherville, the tow truck driver who was in critical condition in Our Lady of Mercy, Dyer, with gunshot wounds. Gregory Roderick, 37, of St. John, who was in critical condition in the same hospital with gunshot wounds. Crystal Gearhart, 34, of Cedar Lake, who was shot in the arm in the Kmart store, treated at St. Anthony's Medical Center in Crown Point, and released. Robert E. Schmidt, 14, of Lowell, Indiana, who was treated for abrasions to his right lung caused by flying glass, and released. The name of the boy with the broken arm was not learned. One woman also suffered chest pains after the shooting. Koslow's former landlord in Chicago described Koslow as a kind of a square. That's why I rented to him. I thought he wasn't wild. He must have flipped out after trouble with his job, his back, and the hospitals. A former neighbor of Koslow's, Ernestine Hansen, said, "I always felt sorry for him. He seemed like someone who was alone and depressed or something." The news of the Kmart shooting stunned residents of St. John and the neighboring community of Dyer. "All of these little towns around here are like Mayberry," said Frank Westinghouse of Dyer. "You think it's the perfect place to be because nothing happens, but this sends chills up my spine. It's just like the McDonald's thing near San Diego, but a mile down the road. People around here will talk about this for a long time." Jenny Cleveland, 22, of St. John, resident for 8 years, said, "Something like this won't be easily forgotten. Around here, we hear about stuff like this in Chicago, but you never expect it here."
Well, there you have it. St. John, Indiana. Going to try to find some grave locations. Look kind of difficult. I think one is in Evansville, Indiana, which is the George Murr. I'm not sure about that. I'll look into that. There's Margaret Novak, Cedar Lake, I think she was. And I'm just having trouble finding grave locations. If I do, we'll definitely put them in. But thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. See you on the next one. Be safe.